All right, welcome back to the Contact Center Cactus Chat podcast. I'm your host, Eric Mulvin. We're back with another episode, and I'm actually back out in Dumaguete, Philippines, and I've got a chance to interview one of our employees today. So we have Cathy, Belen, who's our talent acquisition manager. And so welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much for having me. I'm really excited to be on your podcast, and I believe I'm the first one for the year, correct?
You are. You're the first employee first employee we've ever interviewed. We got Jake as a co-host, and so you're the first one. I'm excited to be introducing to our listeners some of the really amazing people that help run PacBiz behind the scenes. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm really excited to be here with you. I'm honestly quite nervous, but I'm really happy to be doing this with you, Eric.
Awesome.
It's such an honor.
Thanks for accepting. So why don't you introduce yourself a little bit, tell the listeners what is it you do here at PacBiz, and just a little about your background.
Okay, so just like what Eric said, my name is Cathy Belen, but I'm Mary Catherine Belen. So I am the talent acquisition specialist here at PacBiz Virtual Services. I've joined the company since November of 2020, so I'm a pandemic hire, so to speak. So I've been in this role ever since I joined the company, and it's really quite exciting how I joined the company, Eric, because I didn't know really that PacBiz existed, but I knew the general manager, Miss Pippin, and one time I met her in the local mall, and I was kidding her, Miss Pin, can you just hire me? And she said, oh no, we can't hire you. So I said, okay. And then, probably 2 days before I joined the company, I saw the HR manager who was my friend. And this is a story I keep sharing the new hires that the HR manager here at PacBiz is really an angel to me because I was in a dark space, so to speak, with my mental health. I had some mental health challenges. And when I saw her, I didn't really know PacBiz was looking for someone in talent acquisition. So I said, can you just hire me? Can you just hire me to be your PA or whatever? And then she said, really? You'd really want to join us? Because, we can have a place for you. And so 2 days after that, I was here in the office and I was just ready to go. And I never really thought that day would turn into two years and a couple of months already. So it's been a wonderful, wonderful ride here at PacBiz.
Cool. I never heard that story, so I didn't know how they found you, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And you did come on at a really interesting time because we, when COVID hit, we work with a lot of people in the hospitality industry, and they got hit hard with COVID. So we were not hiring people. In fact, we weren't laying people off, but we were freezing work status for a lot of people. So it was pretty unique for us to be hiring someone on at a time when, things were still a little not normal in the world. I mean, what was it like starting a job with a new company? Because we weren't doing anything in the office, and then you had to find people, interview them, and I guess you probably didn't actually get to see them in person. Was it all through Zoom at the beginning? I don't remember.
Interestingly, when I started that day, we had an account called, if you can remember, Localfi. We were looking for a VA at that time, so it was two. A VA for Localfi and a web developer for Monsoon Marketing. So that was the first thing I did. That was the first task that was handed to me.
Which are tough hires.
Yeah, definitely.
Even today,
It is definitely. So, since no one was here, we did all the interviews first by phone, which is what we call today as our initial interview. And then after that, we did Zoom. So it's phone and Zoom. So it was quite, it was unusual. But we had to adjust because we were so used to doing face-to-face. But in my case, since I was doing 7 years of freelance working from home prior to this job, so it was new for me in that I was talking to people again, which I never did for 7 years, I think, when I was doing freelance. So it was strange, but it was extremely refreshing. And it was great to see new people, meet new people. But in my case, because I knew most of the people in admin, it was so great to be seeing them, working with them, and, just working with empowering women, inspiring aspirational women. So it was really it was great. It was eye-opening, refreshing, and I think I was just really ready to go at that time and start a new career here at PacBiz.
All right, so you got hired on, and I know we were dealing with the effects of COVID. You know, like people, especially here in the Philippines, like the lockdowns were way more restrictive than they were, and I think it really took a toll on people. And I know we try to do a lot of things to help our staff out and provide them support wherever we could. And I know we were talking a little bit about the show before the show about motivated by nature, which I haven't thought about in a while. And so I guess we started that initiative not long after you came on, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So what was that like? Because you probably weren't expecting like this call center to be like focused on, or at least thinking about mental health and trying to help out the staff. So I guess first, like, explain what motivated by nature was. What was that program? And yeah, let's start with that.
Okay, yeah. Motivated by Nature was actually a program. Initially it was really a contest, which we had back in January 2021, if I remember correctly. We were really encouraged to unplug, so to speak, to get out from our work desk, commune with nature, be with nature. And we were tasked every day. We were given tasks to do. So let's say for today, it's the letter A. So we need to find something in nature that started with the letter A. So I don't know, maybe A for just about anything in nature. Maybe air. Well, although you can't really see air, but something like that. So maybe smelling the fresh air, unplugging from your desk, go out in nature. So that's what we did.
Yeah, like bee, you take a picture of a banana tree.
Bee, correct,
maybe,
yeah.
Bees.
And so on. So that's what we did. And in essence, although it initially started out as a contest, I think essentially it made everyone stop and recharge, so to speak, because when you're working from home, you tend to have this cabin fever. So with Motivated by Nature, everyone was really encouraged to go out, spend some time in nature, and commune with nature. And in a way, I think it was physically, mentally, and spiritually healing for all of us, particularly in my case, because I've been quite open with my struggles with mental health before I started with PacBiz, and Motivated by Nature was really a great help for me to take care of myself, take care of my mental health. And also because of Motivated by Nature, I was also quite motivated to do my first half marathon. So I did that, and that was very exciting. And I think without Motivated by Nature, I wouldn't be able to do my first half marathon.
That's impressive. And I remember hearing stories about staff where like they were getting out, they started like getting into jogging, because you get to explore these places.
Correct,
you gotta leave your house. You gotta walk around. Go to parks. Go out to nature. Go to the beach. So yeah, it was really cool to see, especially because again we were all dealing with the effects of that, being locked in, and you can tell it was like people were getting burned out.
Correct,
so it was a good way to get people back out again. And that wasn't our first initiative. I mean, just thinking about it through with you right now, like, there's been a few things that we've launched around mental health since you've come on board, just in those 2 short years that you've been at PacBiz. I'm trying to think of, like, what are some of the other things? Do you remember what are some of the other things that we've tried to put in place over the last couple of years?
Apart from Motivated by Nature, I think we had some talks by invited guests in the guidance counseling community in the local in our schools, I mean. And I think, of course, Susan Heaton from Motivated by Nature also spoke to us about it, just to talk to us about things on how to really take care of ourselves, self-care, and just cope with the COVID situation better.
Yeah. And now that COVID's kind of fading away, life is the tough part.
Yeah.
Everyone's having challenges. The world's just, it always seems like it's getting crazier and crazier, and we're dealing with that, trying to do our job, take care of our families. And so lately, I think even like we're looking recently made a choice about our health insurance based
Mm-hmm.
around like the support they offer for mental health, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, I don't really have a lot when it comes to the services that's being offered together with our health insurance. But what I can share is we are trying to actually form like a mental health support group for everyone. And what it is that we're trying to, because with health insurance, what it usually covers is, of course, your usual checkups, dental, hospitalization. But now with COVID situation, I think what's great about the COVID situation is that people with mental health struggles are being validated. I mean, their feelings, how they feel, their struggles are being validated. And so I think people are recognizing that mental health is really part of health. And it's also something that you really, really need to take care of. So nothing is really final when it comes to the mental health package that we have, but we are trying to look at services that would offer mental health first aid, so to speak. And what does it include? It includes sessions, therapy sessions with psychologists, and if they need psychiatrists, like when we're talking about medication, there is also something like that. Because although we have psychiatrists and psychologists in the city, what happens is that we cannot book them right away, and more often than not, when someone needs mental health first aid or mental health first support, they need it right away. Like
Yeah.
me, in my case, just very recently, Eric, I had a traumatic experience on New Year's Day when I lost my dear dog. So I really needed help right away, and you cannot just book an appointment right away. So that's the sad part. That's the challenging part. I mean, I'm not trying to throw shade at our psychiatrists here in the locality, but what I'm trying to say is that we want to be able to have a program that's available, accessible to everyone when they need it
Yeah.
right away,
Yeah,
the
that's-
help that they need.
That's why, situations like that and others we've dealt with over the past year, it's why we're looking at that kind of stuff. And I think, it seems like in the U.S. anyways, they're just kind of coming around to this. And I really hope that we could be the leaders here in the Philippines because, they're just now coming up to it in the Philippines. Usually, in the U.S., Philippines is usually a couple of years behind
Right.
or even further. So, we're trying to model that, like, here's how you can take care of your staff better. And I think we're the perfect business for that too, because like we're all about retention. You see behind us here, this past weekend, we just got to celebrate our 8-year anniversary
Yeah.
of PacBiz. And I found out, I didn't even realize this, but by the end of this year, if we don't lose a bunch of people for whatever reason, I don't know what would happen, then we'll have over 50 people celebrating their 5-year anniversary of PacBiz.
Yeah.
So, like, for us, we want to keep people around long term. We don't want someone burned out, because if they're getting burned out, they're going to quit, or they're going to have poor performance on the job, which will lead to them being let go possibly. And at a tough time in their life, when they need the most support, typically that's when businesses are letting these people go. Because a lot of times companies don't have the resources or patience or whatever. They just there's so many people out there, let's just put someone else in. So I think it's pretty interesting, that we're able to at least start looking at how can we do better as a company for our staff.
Correct. Yeah.
So.
And I think, Eric, it's very much aligned with our company focus, which is to promote not just client growth but employee growth as well. And I think with employee growth, there's also growth in the company. And when a company grows, that means we are keeping the right people, retaining the right people, and making the right people happy as well. So,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you very much agree with me that the most precious resource of the company is the people.
Oh yeah.
So we really, really have to take care of them.
Yeah, people all the time say we're a people organization.
Sure, yeah.
There's no secret technology behind the scenes. We don't have a room full of AI computers actually doing the calls. They're all people.
Correct.
We got to take care of them. So that's so true. All right, Cathy. Well, that's all the time we have for part 1 of this. We've got a lot more conversation. We're going to get into Culture Index a lot deeper, and the next episode here in part 2. And so thank you for being on the show here. And thank you guys for listening. And we will catch you part 2. Look for us in 2 weeks where you'll hear the rest of the conversation with me and Cathy. And we're talking about hiring and talent acquisition and getting into people's personalities so that we can find the most amazing people to join our Cactus family.